You're eating my finger. You are eating my finger. Look, there's no doubt in my mind that the GoPro is one of my favorite cameras to use. I mean, when you think about them, they're small, they're lightweight, they're easy to handle, they have great video quality, and these are one tough little camera. I mean, that's why they're used by professionals and amateurs alike. This one here is the GoPro Hero 12. It offers like that 8 to 7 sensor, Emmy award-winning stabilization, HDR video, and a 5.3K resolution. So this should make the very best webcam in the world, right? Well, no, it doesn't, and that's probably the number one mistake people are making when buying a GoPro to use as a webcam. They don't realize that amazing as the GoPro is, the webcam, well, you're only going to get a 1080p image out of it, and that's far below the 4K offering of other superior webcams. So what's up with that? I mean, why isn't the GoPro ruling as a webcam? Well, look, to clear things up in this very first podcast, we're going to be looking at the GoPro, using it as a webcam, why this feature was introduced, and why you should and shouldn't use your GoPro as a webcam. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. This is the DemonView podcast. Do you want honest, to-the-point reviews, tech tips, and YouTube advice? Then sit back, relax, and enjoy. This is the DemonView podcast. Hi there, and welcome to the very first DemonView podcast. Now, honestly, I hadn't planned on doing a podcast at all, but since YouTube offer it as an option, I thought, right, why not? And honestly, some people who watch this channel, they do actually say, yeah, I listen to your videos as a podcast while I'm driving. I'm guessing your local radio stations really do suck. So hopefully you find this interesting, because what we're going to be looking at in this podcast is using the GoPro as a webcam, why you should do it, and possibly why you shouldn't do it. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the history of the GoPro as a webcam. Now, for those of you watching on video, you might recognize what I'm holding in my hand. It's the GoPro Hero 12. That's a whole different kettle of fish. I'll talk about the GoPro Hero 12 at some other stage, but we're going to look at the GoPro as a webcam and why you shouldn't use it. Okay, let's begin then. So why is the GoPro working as a webcam? Well, if you cast your memory back to COVID times, you would realize that when COVID first came out, you know, things were kind of like along the lines of, hey, wear a face mask, stay away from people, and wash your hands, which is kind of how I live my life daily anyway, because I just don't like socializing. But one of the things then that happened, of course, if you remember, is the lockdowns. Everyone's suddenly kind of like being told to stay indoors. They couldn't go to work, and if they did work, they had to do remote work. And that led to a shortage of webcams. It also led to the rise kind of like of video conferencing services, Teams, Zoom, all that type of thing. But yeah, as a result, webcams were in terribly short supply. I mean, hold on just 1 second. I'm trying to get a camera here without knocking everything down, but I have a really old webcam here. Oh, this is the Logitech Sphere Cam, and this is a number of years old. I can't even tell you when this thing came out, but during COVID, I could have sold this thing for probably $200 or $300. That's how desperate people were to get a webcam. And there was a lot of kind of like cheap Chinese cameras flooding the market that had terrible picture, terrible resolution, and even those were very hard to get a hand of. So the people at GoPro, you know, they realized, well, yeah, we have our GoPros out there. Wouldn't it be great if people could use their GoPro as a camera? Now, there was a couple of reasons that GoPro decided this. Because of the lockdowns, who was going out and using GoPros as action cameras? They just weren't allowed to, or if they did, they were probably going to get fined or something. So GoPro needed to keep their sales going, and they also wanted to kind of help people and use their GoPro as a webcam. So therefore, GoPro had said to their engineers, hey, how do we make this work as a webcam? Now, here's the thing, the GoPro was never designed as a web camera, and it doesn't have a native webcam driver. But what the GoPro engineers managed to do was come up with an application that could actually use the USB-C interface of this to actually emulate a network IP camera over USB-C. Now, there are some issues with this. Number one, it meant that you would have separate video audio streams, and Microsoft as an operating system tends to prioritize video signals over audio signals. So one of the very first problems, of course, was that the GoPro webcam software didn't support audio. Now, that was interesting because a lot of people buy a webcam and then suddenly complain, you know, hey, where's my audio? It doesn't support audio. And if you're a professional podcaster or a professional creator, you know that you're not going to use the microphones on your webcam anyway. You're going to use something like this, which is the Yeti microphone, which sounds rather pleasing. Hey, I'm a nerd. So for serious kind of users or people who are experienced with using, you know, webcams, the fact that the GoPro didn't support audio wasn't actually a problem for them because, you know, people usually had microphones anyway. And then if you didn't have a microphone, don't forget, if you're just, you know, suddenly working from home, you're using a laptop, you're using a PC, they usually have microphones built into them anyway. So not really supporting audio wasn't a huge issue for GoPro. But there was one other issue, and that was the fact that because of the way the camera works, even though this GoPro Hero 12 is a 5.3K camera with Emmy award-winning stabilization and a fantastic picture up to 60 frames per second and 5.3K, as a webcam it only supports 1080p. Now, that is kind of a problem for people who go out and buy GoPros as a webcam because they see that a GoPro supports 5.3K, they buy it thinking as a webcam, I'm going to have this ultra high quality 5.3K resolution web camera at 60 frames per second. No, you don't. You have a 1080p webcam. And, you know, I suppose during COVID times that really wasn't a huge issue, so to speak. I mean, it was a huge issue if you bought a camera expecting to get like a 4K or 5.3K picture, but nowadays it's not really that much of a big deal at all since you can get 4K webcams very easily. What I'm using right now, for those of you who are watching the video, is the Razer Kaio Ultra Pro Mega Billion Dollar camera. It's a 4K camera. It offers 4K up to 60 frames per second. It also has HDR on it as well. And the thing is, it's pricey at $300. It's pretty much the price of a GoPro. But it does offer superior video quality in low light thanks to its much larger sensor. And it's rather pleasing. I mean, you can see I got the purple lights going. I've got one kind of big light over here. And it's not really that great a light, but you can actually see the quality here showing up all my features. So yeah, got that paper bag out now. So GoPro's a webcam. Yeah, it only supports 1080p. And if people are buying webcams, which they are, thinking that they're going to get a 5.3K webcam, that's not the case, and that is a huge problem. Now, should or should you not use your GoPro as a web camera? Well, here's my thoughts on the matter. If you're a content creator and you're looking to create content in a studio and outside of the studio, it's going to be like a 50-50 thing. 50% indoors, 50% outdoors, or even 40% indoors, 30% indoors, then yes, you might get away with using your GoPro's web camera. Now, I don't reckon it has the best video quality in the world as a web camera. They do have small sensors. If you're producing videos, you're likely going to be indoors if you're doing it in the studio, and you might not have the best of lighting, in which case using an action camera as a webcam, oh, not great. If you're a more professional creator and you do have lighting and everything, well then, as a 1080p camera, you don't get bad quality out at all. I mean, here's the thing. When I compare this 1080p GoPro webcam to other cheap web cameras out there, yeah, this thing blows them away by miles. If I compare this as a webcam compared to my $300 4K web camera, this fails by miles, you know? So it's better than a cheap web camera, but it's not as good as a good web camera. And that's something that people have to take into account. However, like I said, if you're doing both indoor and outdoor videos, this has a major advantage over actual expensive web cameras. For instance, you can just pop this off your tripod, bring it outdoors, and now you have a video camera that you can use to film outdoors with. And that will give you 5.3K resolution, 60 frames per second, HDR, all the bells and whistles that you could want. Whereas the expensive web camera here, if I want to use that for filming outdoors, number one, I have to bring a whole laptop with me, hook it up, have software going, and what am I going to get, like an hour out of the battery life on the laptop? And then I have to say I have tried using that camera outdoors, and outdoors, the colors are terrible. I mean, it's like this camera was designed to work in indoor lighting and low lighting and everything and give a pretty pleasing picture. Yet if I tried to shoot outdoors with it, yikes, the picture quality just drops immensely. You know, it's just not configured properly for that. I mean, I'm sure I could dial the settings in to give a somewhat better quality video, but yeah, as a web camera, you know, for studio lighting, that expensive web camera really does work. So, I mean, my advice for you, if you're using the GoPro Hero 12, or if you're thinking of purchasing a GoPro as a web camera, realize that it will only give you 1080p picture. It's not going to be great in low light situations. And, you know, like I said, you'd be better off investing in a really, really good webcam instead. And that's part of the problem that faces creators, and that's the expense of things. I mean, take me, for example. I have to pay for everything out of my own pocket. There's no major sponsors with this channel yet. I remain hopeful. But, you know, you're talking about if you invest in a expensive studio camera, that's $300 straight out of your pocket. And then if you want to film outdoors, well, it's another $300 with the GoPro subscription discount if you want to buy GoPro Hero 12. And that can add up really, really quickly. And that's one of the reasons why I tell everybody, monetize your channel as soon as possible. Try and use that to pay off for some of these production expenses. Yeah, so that was the quick little podcast there for you, just talking about using a GoPro's web camera. Now, later on, I will be discussing more things in depth. I'll be, there's actually a couple of things I'm going to do with this channel, or this podcast, I should say. And you know what? I might as well give you the news now. So let's do a roundup of what's to come. So the DemonView channel has been going for quite a while, and it really does kind of concentrate on GoPro cameras, GoPro issues, mounting them, filming night lapses, filming with cars and GoPros, stuff like that. And like I said, usually tech tips and troubleshooting reviews, and I even have some other reviews up there, as you know. Now the thing is, that's kind of like a niche thing, and a lot of people do that, and as a result, I want to expand the channel, but I don't want to put it all in the one channel. I want to have some, you know, extra channels, if you will, and I just belched. So I want to have some extra channels, if you will. I want to actually be creating more videos in 2024, and here's what I have in mind. Number one, we're going to have DemonView Drives. That's a brand new channel that I'm starting up, and the whole point of DemonView Drives is that, you know, I have a car that I absolutely love. It's near and dear to my heart. And the point is, it's an older car. There's 217k on the clock. I brought it into service centers, and there's only so much they can do. One of the most expensive services I had done was like nearly $7,000. And, you know, a lot of things had to be fixed on that car, but hey, it was fantastic. But then the next service I had, well, that was nearly $2,000. And the thing is, it's very expensive to have your car serviced. And there's like, if you really examine the bills that you have, you're paying for basically 50% in parts and then 50% in labor. And that doesn't work for me. So DemonView Drives is going to be about car maintenance and repair and a bit of restoration from somebody who knows nothing about car maintenance, car repair, and car restoration. I'm going to be kind of like learning as I go along and letting people kind of enjoy that trip with me. I'm not an expert in cars. I know very little about cars. So like I said, I'll be learning and showing you what I'm doing. I expect there to be some angry comments calling me an idiot, but hey, that's what's going to happen. Now, be aware, it's not a tutorial channel. I'm not saying this is what you should be doing. I'm saying this is what I do, and this is what I'm doing. So you can watch along, but that'll be that. And then there'll be another channel which I'm going to call DemonView Drinks and Dines. And because I'm Irish, I'm obviously going to be reviewing some adult beverages. I'm going to be doing some reviews of restaurants and stuff in the area, and kind of just really expanding along that kind of lines there. And the reason I want to do that is not because I want to eat and drink out more often, but I'm hoping that I can expand this channel, get it more well known, and then help out some local businesses, you know, everything from the brew pubs that we have in Portland, and there are plenty of those, to the small restaurants and food carts. And I just really want to show people that, yeah, Portland has a reputation, but let's make it a good reputation, and let's show people some of the fun, nice places there are in the area. And hopefully that'll all come in 2024. So that'll be 3 channels. This DemonView channel here, where I do all the photograph and video stuff, the DemonView drives, and the DemonView drinks and dines. Drinks and dines I'll probably do like once a month, hopefully. DemonView drives I'm going to try and do every alternating week, and then a main video for the DemonView channel on those weeks in between. So that's what's going to be coming up. I really do hope you like the journey. And hey, drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you'd like me to talk about in the podcasts. You know, there's a lot of subjects out there to tackle, and, you know, if anyone wants to suggest something, please leave a comment down below. But until next time then, can't wait to hear from you. Cheerio. Do you want honest, to-the-point reviews, tech tips, and YouTube advice? Then sit back, relax, and enjoy. This is the DemonView Podcast.